Hey guys, and happy Friday. So today I am finally, I feel like I've been working on this or trying to do this forever. I'm finally going to go ahead and use the junk journal kit that I am selling. And I'm going to go ahead and make a journal out of it. Now it's not going to be completely embellished, but I am going to use as much of the stuff that I have in here to make a journal, and I'll show you very quickly what you receive. So you get a little bag full of small ephemera, your thread that you need to um, that you could use to what's the word, bind your journal together. You get some fabric or some lace and just different pieces of ephemera that I put into a little baggie. They're not all going to be exactly the same, but they're going to have the same amount of stuff and the same types of stuff. So I love these playing cards that I found at one of my local thrift stores. So I have a couple of different ones. So I include one of those. This is just one of those little file index Rolodex papers. Just a book page that I put a little stamp or something on there. It'll be, like I said, they'll be different. Then this is part of my master board, and then I just cut it up into some shape, or I may just put a piece of it in there or whatever. Something else that I made here, just a little master board kind of. And actually I put a little piece of cloth on here so it can be like a journaling card, and you have a little pull to pull it out of. A piece of kind of faux leather. It's just a piece of paper that I put together. And then just different pieces of paper, maybe coffee stain, coffee dyed, tea dyed, anything like that. Something like one of these little paint chips or paint samples. Then there's some chipboard in there, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. An envelope, oops, it's upside down, some book pages, different size book pages, one of these big playing cards. If if they're still in stock, then I'll send one of those. Another piece of a master board that I had there, some graph paper, just showing you kind of what's in there, ledger paper, pieces of map, some happy planner paper. This can be used as your cover, like to cover up this, or you can use it on the inside, however you want to use it. I'll show you how I'm going to use that. Have another piece of coffee stain paper, a music sheet, and then there's 10, I believe 10 pages of craft paper, which I usually use for the signatures. But if you don't want to use those for the signature, you can always use this type of stuff, for the signature, and just fold them in half and use them that way. But it's totally up to you. That's why I included some extra pages in there, so you can kind of do whatever it is that you want to do and use it how you want to use it. So this is just kind of an example of what you can do with your journal. So what I'm going to start off by showing you is what I did with my chipboard. I actually turned it into faux leather. Of course, that's optional. You don't have to do that. You can always take your chipboard, use this as a base, and then just fold it in, glue it on there, and this can be your cover. So there's always going to be some kind of paper that you can use as your cover. I won't be using this as my cover, but what I will be doing is using this as my, like, the inside of it. So I'm going to take that, and once I'm ready, I'm going to go ahead and use that as, like, oops, it's backwards, sorry. I'll use this as the inside here. So I'll, excuse me, so I will cover that up with the paper once I'm ready. So that's what I'm going to do with mine. Now, what am I going to do first? So I guess I'll do that first. I was going to wait, but I'll do that first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, I guess I don't need this just yet. I am going to take, there it is, my Scotch Create glue stick. You can do this, or you can, I'm going to use Fabrifix because I think it'll just work a little bit better. And actually, this is not the Fabrifix. This is the the foam and poster board adhesive from the Dollar Tree, but it works exactly the same. And usually I would use something to kind of spread it, but I don't have all of my tools in front of me. So what I'm gonna do is just get it as close to the edge as possible, and you can always fix it once you get it in there. And you don't have a whole lot of time once you do this, so you kind of have to put it on there and then move a little bit quickly. So you're just going to get it as close to the edge there, and then I'm going to set it on here. Let me see, do I want to do it this way? Yeah, I think I'm gonna do it this way. That way I can get it right on the edge there, and then you can cut it. And if you don't have one of these little face rollers from the Dollar Tree, you need to invest in one. I mean, obviously you can use just a regular, why do I always forget what this is called? I'm drawing a blank on what it's called, but that one's just a face roller from the Dollar Tree. I'm trying to get it on there. You're gonna get sticky. Definitely gonna get sticky fingers. So my white's on hand here, and I'm actually gonna put this under here so it doesn't get on my table. I'm just gonna stick it on there, make sure it gets all the way to the edge, and give it a second. You can always obviously cut around there. The reason that I did it this way was so that I can use some of this again, then I'll have some extra. So then you just do the same thing on this side. And if it's not wide enough, then obviously you can do it the long way, but I'm just trying to use up as much, or yeah, be able to get as much of it out of this one piece as possible. In case I want to use it for ephemera or pockets or anything like that, I have enough. And then you just go ahead, spread it all over. And if you want, you can take like a silicone thing and just kind of smooth it out, or even if you want to use your finger. I don't really want to get it all over my fingers like that today, so we're not doing that. We're just going to go ahead, try and line it up as well as possible, and let it sit and let it get stuck there. Use your little thing here. What I'm going to do is turn it around, do it from this side. That way, I'm really getting it. I'm going to do this side. So I've been trying to get a chance to do this for quite some time now. I've had these journal kits available for sale for a while, and I keep saying that I'm going to, put one together so that everybody can see how to use it if you don't, if you haven't used it already, and I just hadn't had a chance. So finally able to. So I'm going to let that dry for a little bit. It doesn't really need a whole lot of time to dry. It's pretty quick drying, but because of the texture, I just want to kind of let it sit for a minute. Then what we're going to do is decide whether we want to use, and I might use a combination. I think I'm going to use a combination of the craft paper, and it's just a little bit too long, and that's okay. So we're just going to kind of decide how long and how big we want it. So I think I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. I do not measure. If you haven't been around long enough to know, I don't measure. I try, and I'll measure sometimes, but for the most part, I just eyeball things. So we're going to do that. And of course, if you don't want to use all of it, you don't have to. It's your journal. You can do whatever you want to do. I'm just kind of doing this, of course, you're going to pat it all down to one side so it's as even as possible. And I like to put it onto the corner so that I can get it as straight as I can. But again, I don't make straight. I'm not very good at straight lines either. There's a whole lot of things that I'm not very good at, but I just like to, you know, make my journals and play with my paper and just be happy. So you do you. If you want to measure it, if you want to, you know, make sure everything is straight and perfect, you can do that. Now, I would recommend folding them individually instead of doing them all as one, but for the sake of, you know, the time for the video, I'm just going to do them all at once. But I would recommend cutting them individually. That way, you know, they're straight and just get a better outcome. But like I said, for the sake of time and this video, I'm just going to kind of go through and do it like this. But again, I would highly recommend cutting each page individually, just so you get a more concise cut. But I am just trying to get through this here. Get it? Get all of them? All right. And then we're going to see how long we want them. And like I said, I'm just kind of letting this dry. I want to make sure that it stays on there. And then we're going to go right about there. So I'm just going to do that so I kind of have a gauge on where I'm going to cut there. Turn this, and then we're going to line her up. This is about as much measuring, quote unquote, measuring as I do. I do like straight lines. But sometimes, you know, and you can tear these pages if you want them to look a little bit more like vintage or anything like that. Then you can just take your ruler and tear them if you want to. I kind of want this one to be a little bit cleaner, so I'm not going to do it that way, but that's definitely an option and it looks amazing. So, you know, that's, like I said, that's always an option. This go around, I wanted it to be a little bit cleaner, so we'll see. Maybe some of them will be like that and some of them won't, so we shall see. All right, so if you want this to be your signature, then there you go. You have one whole signature already done. Now, what I want to do is add some of these papers in there. So, of course, they're going to be a little bit too big. So, what I'm going to do is maybe I'll measure. I'll measure. So, these are 5 by, yeah, I almost did 7. It's almost 7, a little under 7. So we're going to start there and then kind of go down. So I'm just going to put a bunch of these together. And then what I'm going to do is kind of alternate it. So it'll be like a craft paper and then one of these pages or whatever. Again, you can do whatever you want. You can make it look however you want it to look. And it'll be fine. So here we have them. Oh, that's pretty. Maybe I'll put one of these in there. So see, this is the instance where I can probably just kind of tear it. And then this will be one of these in here. And then if you want to add more, I don't know if you want this in there, you can leave that in there, or we can use this for something else. We're going to use that for something else. I want this coffee dyed paper in there, so I'm going to go ahead and fold it. And somebody sent me a review or a response to my journal kit, and I appreciate any, you know, input, any feedback, anything like that you can give. You know, I appreciate it. She was saying that she wished there was more variation in paper, and I tried to explain to her that that's why I added all this other stuff, so you don't necessarily have to use just the craft paper. This is just, like I said, just kind of some bones to using some stuff that, you know, I had in my stash. definitely feel free to grab stuff from your stash that you want to include and include them in there. It doesn't just have to be, you know, the stuff that I included in the kit. You can definitely use stuff that you have at home. What did I say it was? 7, right? I think just about 7, yeah. So we're gonna go like this, and I think I'm gonna cut it at 7. So I think I'm gonna cut it right where this coffee stained or coffee dyed paper ends. So that's what we're gonna do, and that's what we're gonna use as our guide. Hopefully that's straight. Hopefully. Just gonna do that, and that's kind of our guide there. Oops, kind of our guide there. Then you'll have all this to kind of play with if you choose. Then we're gonna do the same thing this way. So this one was 5, and we're going to cut it at 5. Oh, there's my dog. He always wants to go outside, and then he's out there for a few minutes, if that. You know, he'll go out there, and I feel like he's out there some seconds, and then he wants to come right back in. Give me a second here, guys. All right, had to let my dog in there. All right, so now I have this mess here. Just gonna push this stuff to the side here. Push it to the side. All right, close that up. Put my lid on there. I'm gonna try and make this as quick as possible. I don't want to be on here forever. I don't want to hold you guys too long. So what you can do is you can either make one signature of like just random papers, or you can kind of alternate, which I think is what I'm gonna do. And then at the end, you can kind of change it up, switch it around, do what you want to do. And I'm actually kind of liking the way these look like this, but I just want to add some extra papers in there. So I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to do this. And like I said, I think I'm just going to alternate and make it one craft paper, one whatever, you know, other paper I have. But again, if you want to use scrapbook paper, if you want to use whatever you want to use, it's, again, I always say the same thing. It's yours. You can do whatever you want to do with it. You can add as much, take away as much as you want. You don't even have to make it this big of a signature. You can make a couple of signatures. It is up to you. Whatever, well, that's upside down. So whatever it is you want to do, it's really not, huh? Anyway, so it's up to you. So do I want that to be the last one? I think I want the craft paper to be the last thing. So that's a decent size signature there. So, and here we go. So that's how it looks so far. So, and you still have all this stuff left over that you can use inside your journal to decorate with. So we're going to work on that here in just a moment. Uh-oh, I'm stuck to the table there. It's okay. It's okay. So then we're just going to, what am I going to do? We're going to do this first. I'm going to cut this. Now, guys, I know there's, you know, there's channels that do everything. And I wish mine was like immaculate. Never, you know, my pictures were perfect and everything was like picture perfect. This is real. This is what it really looks like when you're crafting. And no knocking. I'm definitely not knocking those channels where everything, I wish I could do that. But reality is my son is taking a nap and I'm trying to get as much done while he's sleeping. So this is what this is what I'm going to be doing, and it's quick and it's, you know, functional for me and it works. And, you know, again, I wish that I could be more, you know, more, I don't know what to call it, but like magazine worthy, but but this is, you know, this is my reality. This is how I craft. My desk looks like a mess, or my table, or wherever I'm working, because right now I'm working on my dining room table because my craft room is in my basement, and because I'm here alone with my son, I can't really go down there. And he's sleeping. Oh no, I tore it. It's okay, we'll fix it. We'll fix it. It's not a big deal. You know, he's sleeping right now. So, taking advantage of it, and see, this is what happens. It's okay though. We'll fix it. It'll be all right. We'll get some scissors and do that better. And then I think I'm just going to get the scissors and finish kind of trimming along the edges there, just so I don't mess it up too much. Too much more. So, you know, or you can leave it like that and just kind of fix it with some glue or some tape or anything like that. But here we go. This is what we're going to do. Kind of get it done. And again, you know, this is reality. This is what my crafting really looks like. And this is, you know, how it is. So now, did I cut it even? Probably not. So we're gonna fix that too. Can't take too much off, so it's okay. It's okay. So then you want to make sure that everything is going to fit in there, and you're going to be able to trim that off. It's not a big deal, but that happens because the pages get pushed out, you know, when they're in the signature there. So then what I'm going to do is take, where did it go? Where did it go? Where'd the other piece of that stuff go? The color. Oh, here it is. Okay. So then what I'm going to do, and again, this is just an option. This is not mandatory. This is just how I'm choosing to do it. I am going to use this, so I can just cut this right here. And I'm going to make this the little binding here that kind of holds this together. So I'm going to fold it in half. That way it's even. At least what I'm assuming is half. Not really, huh? Not really half, but we're going to, excuse me, I'm going to fix it. We are going to fix it. We're going to put it right here. I'm going to put it right in here, and we're going to fix it. So we're going to take it at its smallest point. Oops. I just did that. All right. Yep. And this is just me, you know, winging it. I didn't plan what I was going to do. I figured I'd just show you guys how I would work with it if I received it myself. So there we go. So this is the, or I mean, you can do it either way. You want this to be the inside, you want that to be the outside. It's up to you. I kind of want that to be the inside. So what I'm going to do is kind of make sure that this fits right. And of course, you're always going to be able to adjust it later. And then, all right, so it fits. So I'm just going to give it just a little bit of space. So this is where I folded it. And I'm going to glue it. I'm just going to give it a, you know, a little bit. I don't even know how. It's up to you, depending on how big your signature is or how much you want to add to it or whatever. You know, that's kind of how you're going to work with it. So I'm just going to put a little bit there. No measuring. Like I said, who measures? Not me. So I'm going to do it on here. That way it's on there and I'm not missing it. And then I know exactly where it kind of ends and begins and all that good stuff. And just add some in there. Okay. And this is my outside one. So we're going to take it and we're going to set it on there. And again, you're going to be able to adjust this however, or make it, you know, however you want. It doesn't have to be this way. This is just the way that I'm doing it. Giving you an idea, giving you some options, just kind of, you know, showing you how it can be done. Obviously you don't, oops, I'm getting stuck here. Obviously you don't have to do it like that. Then we're just going to use the same amount of space, give or take, all the way down, over to the end and bottom, and then a little bit in the middle. And of course you can use tape, you can use glue. If you have a sewing machine and you want to stitch it, that would be good too. That would look nice. I have a sewing machine, but unfortunately, it's not working. I don't know what happened to, oops, I don't know what happened to it. Oh no, go back up. I don't know why it's not working. I don't know what I did to it. It was working and then it just stopped. So it's all right. So then what I'm going to do is make sure that's in there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take, what do I have here that I want to use in the middle there? Maybe I'll use some of this map and kind of cover up the seam in here just to make sure that it's nice and secure. So I'm just going to measure a piece out that's the same as this one. And you don't have to do it that way, but I'm just going to do it this way just to kind of keep a little bit of consistency, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. Again, you can use whatever. You don't have to do this. This is optional. There's my perfectly straight line there. Yeah, right. Even with the ruler, I never make straight lines. I was always so jealous of my mom. My mom could write. Really? She could do a straight line. You know, just write a straight line. No ruler, nothing to help her, guide her. She would just make a straight line. Very envious of my mother when it came to that. And I did not inherit that from her. Thanks, Mom. But she was amazing at, and her penmanship was great. She was just something, I'm telling you. My penmanship didn't even begin to improve till I was well out of high school, and even then it's subpar. I've always wanted to try learning how to do like calligraphy. I even bought like a little calligraphy set that I just found. And yeah, I've tried it a couple of times and was not very successful, but I do want to keep trying and see if I can learn how to do different lettering and calligraphy and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So I do want to learn. I could tell that if my mom were still alive and that was something that she would have been interested in, oh, she would have learned how to do it really, really well and probably very easily for her. Then you're just going to cut this. Okay. All right, how much time where are we at? We are at 27 minutes. Okay, so then I do, where's my little baggie at? In the bag that I do send some string or some thread. Now, again, this is optional. You don't have to do this. If you have a long neck stapler, you can staple it. You can do however you want to. I'm going to show you. And then I didn't send a needle, but if you go to the Dollar Tree and go into the hair section, you can get a kit. And actually, I think I'm going to use this. No, I'm going to use the white. You can get a hair kit, like a sew-in kit, and it comes with a needle that works perfectly. So you can always go and grab yourself one of those. And like I said, it'll be great. It works perfect. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my little pokey tool, which is called an awl. And I, again, don't measure. You can measure if you want to. Here, we're going to put it on here. I do about an inch in from the bottom. You want to do it along the crease there. So I'm going about an inch at the bottom, a little bit more maybe. And do the same thing over here. And then in the middle, wherever that may be. I'm just going to say it's right there. So I've got the little hole kind of made that I'm just going to go through and make sure it pokes all the way through. And where's the bottom one? There we go. Yep. All right. So, oops, where'd my needle go? No, I lost my needle. I lost the needle, guys. Real life. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. Okay. So then what you're going to do is try and see if you can get this through here. Some of them are thicker than others, and I might have to just switch it to one that's a little bit thicker so I don't have to go through all this on camera with you guys. I keep losing stuff. There it is. Let me see. I've got some that have bigger eyes. There we go. Oops. This is a set that I got on Amazon, and I'll link it in the description box in case anyone's interested in the little bookbinding kit that I purchased. It has all kinds of, it has everything pretty much that you need. It has it has the needles, has pretty much everything that you need in there. So I will include that. All right, and I'm just gonna leave it long like this until I'm done. Oh, I forgot to do my signature, duh. So we're gonna fix our signature here. Make sure it is the way that we want it. If you need to trim it, now is going to be the time that you trim like these little edges right here. And again, if it doesn't bother you, then it's actually okay. And you can always do it later, but I'm just going to cut a few of these right here that are just, where's my paper at? A little bit too long for me. They kind of bother me just a tad. So I'm just going to trim those, and again, this is optional and this is however you want it to be. I just don't want those overhanging. And if you want it to look, like I said, if you want it to look a little aged, you can just take your ruler and just tear it, but I'm not going to do that. Then I did not measure. Okay, this is what we're going to do. Now this is just so that you have something to measure with. I should have done this before. You're just going to take your awl and kind of poke a hole onto a separate sheet of paper so you have a guide for your signature. I should have done that before, but I didn't, so here we go. Then you want to clip your signature together so it doesn't move around. And I usually just do one on this side and one on this side. Make sure everything is where I want it to be. And then you take your guide. Oh no, I didn't see which one was the top. See, this is what you don't do. What not to do with Melissa. There we go. This is what my channel should be. What not to do with Melissa. How did I do that? Oh, the paper wasn't even. Ha! Duh. Okay. Let's try that again. We're going to take this, right, and then we're going to put it down here. We're going to put our cover on there, take our needle, and do it again the right way. Then you kind of have to decide which one's your top and which one's your bottom. And I think I'm going to make it so that it's this way. So this is my top. And let me do this so I can actually see the holes. And I'm going to line up the bottom because, is this my bottom here? Let's see. All right. So we're going to line up the bottom because that's the part that I actually measured properly. And we're going to make sure it's in that crease there, which I don't think it is. Okay, let's do this. We're going to fold it in half. Usually I do this all together, but I didn't this time. So we're just going to wing it here. I'm going to show you how you can do it. So that's folded, and that way it'll fit right in there. And then you can do it. All right, so you got your first one there, your second one there, and the last one right there. All right, then you're going to do the same thing, poke it all the way through. All right, and then you're going to, there we go. So it sits in there, and that's how it's going to look. So the way that you're going to sew it in, I just do a basic like book binding. Why, Melissa? Do you keep losing it? It's because you have a mess. All right. So you're going to take your needle and thread. You're going to go through the middle, and depending on which way, so you can start it from out here if you want to. If you start from the inside, your threads are going to hang on the inside. If you start from the outside, your threads are going to hang on the outside. So however you want to do it, I usually do it from the inside and go out. So that is what I'm going to do. I didn't poke my hole deep enough here. Hold on. Make sure your hole is big enough for your needle. I have a really thick needle, so I should have gone further to begin with. And that was a little off there, but it's okay. It's all right. All right, so then here we go. All right, so you go through the middle, pull it through, then you're gonna go through the top, go in through the back, and into your signature, if you can find the hole there. Come on, where's my hole? There we go. Do that. All right, so you go through the top, or that's the bottom actually. No, either way, it's okay. Then you're going to go all the way back up to the top or the bottom, whichever way you did it. I went backwards and it's okay. I hope this makes sense. If not, I've got a couple other videos where you can see how I did this. So definitely, you know, go through my videos. All right, so you're going to go through the top. Make sure you pull it all the way through. Where is it at? Nope, this one. All right, pull that through. Then you're going to go back to the middle and you're going to go on the opposite side of the thread. So this one's on this side, so you're going to try and get it over to the other side. And this part, sometimes I mess up. So I'm going to work on it here. Kind of just push, oops, push your thread to the side there. Ah, and you also don't want to get in between your threads. Oh, you probably can't see me, sorry. Go through on the other side. So you're going to push that through. I'm using a really thick needle, which is my mistake, but it's okay. You're going to pull it through, pull that out, then see how one thread is on one side, the other thread's on the other side. You can tell, see there? You're going to tie a knot, just like you're going to tie your shoe. So you take one, put that over, like that. Ah, come on. There we go. Do that way. Now, I don't always do it opposite. I really don't. I just do it 3 times and just call it a day, and that way I know it's secure. You don't want to do it too tight, but that's the point where you can tighten it up as much as you want and make it however, you know, loose you want to. I probably should have tightened it a little bit. Oh, that's okay. You can make it as tight or as loose as you want. And then you do that. And there's your signature. So there, where's my top? So there's the top. Now these are going to be hanging out. Now, of course, you're not going to want them that long. So you just kind of cut them however, you know, whatever size you want them to be. I usually leave a little bit just in case I want to end up putting like a dangle or something on there, but that's optional, totally up to you. Now you can take those out. So now you have the beginnings of your journal. So there's your journal, and you have your, oops, your signatures in there, all ready to go to decorate and use up. So now we are going to use this playing card. I'm going to make it a pocket up here. So basically, I'm just going to cut it in half. Maybe not in half. I'm going to cut it a little bit below that little diamond there. And I don't like pink, so I try not to use too much pink. But you're just going to go ahead. You can either glue it in the front or glue it. I think I'm going to put it in the back. Let's see. I think I'm going to put it back here. And then, of course, you can glue it however you want. Sometimes the shiny stuff does not, like shiny paper, doesn't glue very well. This Fabri-Tac foam, whatever glue I'm using, is pretty, it doesn't really cause any issues. So that's why I like to use it. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue that on there. You can tape it if you would like to. That would work as well. I'm just going to do that. I'm going to take my wipe and kind of clean some of this off because it's a lot of glue that I put on there by mistake. And just kind of make sure that that's in there. You don't want to stick anything in there right away because it's going to end up getting stuck at the bottom. So just let it dry. But this is where you would put, I tell you, I'm a hot mess, guys. You would put something like a tuck in there, you know, put some of this stuff. Now this one's a little bit tall, so this one I would probably use like as a bookmark, honestly. Then you know if you're working on this day, there you go. That's where it would go. Then you can start decorating, and that's where all this other stuff kind of comes into play. This is going to be your ephemera. This is what you're going to use as your ephemera, and you can always just take this. I'm going to put it on a different type of page here. Like put it on here, and this is where you take your Scotch Create and you glue, glue, glue. And this works great because you can get all the way to the edge and it's not going to come off. It's going to stick great. And I love this stuff. So I'm going to move this to the side so I don't get stuff stuck. And then you're just going to start putting your ephemera on there. You can do whatever you want. Like I said, it's yours. I love book pages kind of torn like that. So the next thing that I wanted to show was how to use a book page. And like I said, I'm not going to show everything because this is going to be a super long video if I do. But I am going to show you what I like to do with book pages sometimes. So I'm going to take a book page. I'm going to find where I want to put it. I think I'm just going to get a blank page. I'm going to use that. I'm kind of hold this down a little bit because it keeps flipping up here. Where'd my other one go? Here it is. Just kind of hold that down. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my book page. I'm going to fold it in half. And you don't have to fold it, but it's easier. Then I'm going to use this. I'm going to glue this right here in the middle of the page. Glue, glue, glue. Of course, you can tape this if you want to. That's your choice. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's see, kind of measure it out a little bit. And I'm just going to tear it. Okay, I'll tear it, kind of measure, make sure that I got the right size. And of course, you're always going to be able to use this if you want to. Then that's the middle, so right about there. I'm going to tear it some more. And then what you're going to do, now you could have done it a different way as well. I kind of like doing it this way because then it adds a little bit to it. You're going to kind of measure where your card is at. Then you're going to tear. That's the middle, so about right there, I guess. And you're going to do this little cutout in the middle, and of course you can just take the book page, put it on the bottom, but I wanted these little torn edges. So then I'm going to take that and I'm going to glue it on there. Oops, it's upside down. You don't want it to be upside down. Unless you want it to be upside down, then you can do it upside down. It's up to you, but I didn't want it upside down. What am I doing? Which side do I want? This one has more words, so I'm going to do this. Take some glue. Make sure I get all the way to the edges. Make sure you don't tear it in the process. I've done that before, which isn't, you know, the worst thing, but if it's like something specific that you're using and you're using glue, just be careful that you don't tear it. And then I'm just going to put this over it. Make sure you smooth it out. So there we go. So now you have this cool little embellishment there. Oops, where am I at? There we go. Okay. And then again, like I said, you're going to make sure everything's nice and glued in there. And I think that looks great. Then you have some room to write there if you want to, whatever you want to do. And then what else was I wanting to do here? I like taking book pages and kind of just like how this one was, but tearing it in like like at an angle kind of. So you take it and you kind of tear it like this, and just kind of no rhyme or reason, whatever way you want. But I want it to be like, let's see if I can do this here. Kind of like this. So see how that's kind of just at an angle there. And find a cool little book page, or I mean like a wherever you want to put it. Like see something like this. And then just glue it on there, and it just kind of adds a little bit of texture, a little bit, makes it look like it's a torn, you know, page or something like that. I like the way that looks. So that's what I'm going to do with my book pages. So, oh, I got glue over there. And I'm just going to cover up that snake because I don't like it. And that's just me, but you know, you can do whatever you want. I don't like the snake, so I'm covering him up. And that is what I did with my little book page there, and I got glue all over. Let me see if I can kind of wipe some of that off there. So there's that. I'm going to clean my fingers too because stuff everywhere. All right, so then we can make a little, okay, so I'm not going to decorate the whole thing today because it would take me way longer than I want to be on here. I'm almost at an hour, so I don't want to keep you for that long. But this is just kind of a start to start working on your journal, and then you can decorate it however you want to. Then you can just do whatever you want in here. You know, you can take something like this and just kind of make a little journal card, put it in there, anything you want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the rest of this stuff to the side, and I am going to finish embellishing it in a different video. I just wanted to make sure people knew that, you know, everything that was in those packets, they're usable. They're definitely things that, you know, you can put together and make something out of. I didn't just I didn't throw these kits together. I thought them out, and I made sure that you had enough stuff to make a complete journal to use. So this is what it looks like to begin with. And that is it for now, guys. Like I said, I will decorate this, and I will come back on and show you how I embellished it with the rest of this stuff and some of my other items that I have in my stash. That is it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Check out my description box for links to other videos that I have on here, to my Amazon shop, to my Buy Me a Coffee, my Instagram, my Facebook. Join me on all my platforms. I'm just trying to grow and get this, you know, these techniques out to everybody. So until next time, be blessed and be the reason someone smiles. Bye, guys.